like, did it bother you then when you were, because, you know, like you said, you were hated maybe in this industry by certain people. Let's just face it, because, you know, you're on the opposite side and it all comes down to money. But then when this comes out and you get these calls and you're called everything under the sun that a woman could be called, are you upset? Like, does this get to you? I mean, it's no judgment if it does. Like, look what goes on social media all day. And then, like, did you start getting all that social media online hate, and did that get to you, or you were just like, I've dealt with this, not affected at all?
At a personal level, it never got to me. In fact, I had a call with a rehabber yesterday, and she said she's in the same kind of position where she does rehab of native animals, and she does it according to the book, and she does it by the law. And there are people who love to go out there and raid a nest and get a baby bobcat and turn it into an ambassador animal so they can get paid to go to schools and talk about wild animals. And they do it under the guise of being a rehabber, and they're not. And so she was saying, you know, you're dealing with all of this hate from all of these people, and they're, you know, filing false complaints against us all the time, her and I both. And she said, how do you deal with that? And I said, you know, I can tell you how to deal with the agencies and that sort of thing. You have to be aggressive toward them and not let them push you into a corner, and let them know that you know your rights and you're going to stand your ground. But as far as the personal end of it, you know, she's somebody who's really impacted by that. She was shaking and she was upset. And for me, I just don't care. You know, these are bad people. And the fact that they hate me is like a badge of honor. It's like, judge me by the enemies I have made. If this guy hates me, this is really, it's something that is noteworthy. And so I don't take those kinds of things personally. Where I did have a lot of frustration was in things like, I'm on call 24/7. If a bobcat gets hit by a car anywhere in the state of Florida, I will drop everything and race out to the scene at 2:00 in the morning to get that bobcat off the road and to a vet, and then into our rehab facilities, and then back out in the wild. With my phone ringing for 3 months, I couldn't take a call. I couldn't turn my phone off at night. I had to turn my phone off at night, rather, because it was ringing every 5 minutes. And I couldn't take those legitimate calls because of all of the people who were just being hateful. And so we tried transferring the phone calls off to my daughter. She's also a rehabber. And people were waking her up all hours of the night, screaming at her about her mother. And so she couldn't take the calls. And if there's not the two of us doing it, there's nobody doing it. And those cats are out there suffering and dying because people are being hateful. People are ignorant, people are being hateful, people who don't care enough to do any kind of research. They just want to be mean. And that was the most harmful thing of this, is all of those cats who probably died during that situation. And then all of the people who would leave messages on my phone, so that every morning I would get up, and it seemed like for hours, it probably wasn't that long, but I'd be taking each one of those messages, screenshotting the number in case, because these people are threatening to kill me and do all kinds of horrible things to me and my family. And so if it happened, I wanted the police to actually have the screenshots from the phone numbers and the audio files. And so I had to save all of that, which took a stupid amount of time. And then we have, you know, huge social followings. We've got something like 3.6 million fans on Facebook, and I forget.
Yeah, Instagram, I think you're like 40 million or something. It's something up there. I might be wrong, but it's a big number.
Well, it's 100 million views on our YouTube channel, but then
Wow.
It's like 2.6 million subscribers or something. But on all of those social channels, there were literally millions of people coming there just to post hateful things. They were going to all of the review sites like Google and Yelp and everywhere else that they could post a 1-star review from people who'd never been here, didn't know anything about us. All they knew was what they saw in Tiger King. And so dealing with all of that was like just exhausting, but I didn't take it personally. I think my husband and my daughter took it worse than I did. And if you think about it, if people are saying those kinds of things about you, you know they're not true. So you're just like, whatever. But if they're saying that about your mom or about somebody you love, all of a sudden those are fighting words, and you want to feel like you got to get in there and protect them. And so I think it was a whole lot harder for them than it was for me.
Now, I know you're busy running Big Cat Rescue, but in your next life, you need to come back and reinvent yourself and do like anti-bullying training and teach people. I mean, I'm like you, but most people aren't. Like a lot of people really take the comments and all of that to heart and just go down a dark place. So I just think, if you ever have time on your hands or you want a new career, you should talk about just rising above it all, because that's amazing that you never went down all of that road. Really, it's not easy.